All right, let's get right into it. In the wild world of internet fame, some of the biggest stars out there are, well, they're complete mysteries. We're talking about faceless creators who build these massive empires, getting billions of views, all from behind a mask. But eventually, that pressure starts to build, and they decide to take the ultimate risk, the face reveal.
And you know what they say, the bigger the hype, the harder the fall. And trust me, in this world, that fall isn't just some metaphor. When you've built yourself up into this digital god, you're really just setting the stage for one of two things: a legendary coronation or an absolutely spectacular crash and burn.
And that really is the big question here, isn't it? What happens when this carefully constructed mythical persona finally collides with the, let's be honest, the brutal, unfiltered reality of the internet? The answer can be a masterclass in how to do everything right or a cautionary tale of total disaster.
To really understand what happened here, we've got to start by talking about the power and the pure mystique of the anonymous creator, the faceless titan. See, for creators like this, being faceless isn't some problem to be solved, it's the whole point. Their anonymity is literally the engine that powers their brand. It lets the audience project all their hopes and ideas onto them, creating this incredibly powerful bond. But it's a bond with an idea, not a real person. And that builds a legend that no actual human could ever hope to live up to.
And the scale we're talking about here is it's insane. Take the streamer Dream. He built an empire of over 30 million subscribers on YouTube. All of that, every single view, without ever once showing his face. His entire identity was just a simple smiling mask.
So, how do you even build up to a moment like this? Because a face reveal, it's not just as simple as flipping on a webcam. No. It's an event, a carefully engineered spectacle designed to crank up the anticipation to the absolute max.
And honestly, there's a pretty clear playbook for how to do this. First, you announce the date, you make it a can't-miss live event. And then, the real genius move? You start teasing it by showing your face to all your famous friends, building an absolutely impossible level of expectation.
And Dream, he played this part perfectly. He FaceTimed these huge creators, Carl Jacobs, Valkyrie, Ludwig, and recorded their shocked, totally over-the-top gasps and praise. Of course, those clips went viral, basically pouring gasoline on the fire of speculation. The audience wasn't just ready to see a person, they were primed to see a demigod.
So after all that hype, the creator finally has to deliver. They've got to sit down, turn on that camera, and just offer up their face. It's this one single, live, uncut moment of pure vulnerability. And in late 2022, that moment arrived. Millions, and I mean millions of people were tuned in. The entire internet just held its breath, waiting for that smiling mask to finally come off.
After some clearly nervous stalling, he did it. The mask was gone, and in its place was just a guy. He gave this small, kind of awkward wave and introduced himself, and you could just feel this raw, unfiltered energy of someone stepping into a massive spotlight for the very first time.
And right here, this is where you see the massive disconnect. The internet had been promised a legend, a hero, and what they got was Clay, a perfectly normal-looking dude. And for an audience that had been whipped into this absolute frenzy, being normal was probably the most offensive thing he could have possibly been.
Okay, now let's get into the aftermath, because the internet's hive mind delivered its verdict. And let me tell you, it was swift, it was brutal, and it was pretty much unanimous. I mean, within hours of the reveal, this hashtag #HasUgly, was trending on Twitter. Not exactly subtle, right? And it was the first sign of this massive wave of ridicule that was about to hit.
The memes were just relentless. His face was immediately getting compared to this whole gallery of cartoon villains, from Rumpelstiltskin all the way to Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
And look, this wasn't just a handful of trolls hiding in some dark corner of the internet. Oh no, this became the story. Compilation videos started popping up everywhere, putting his friends' glowing praise right next to the public's savage mockery. They racked up millions and millions of views. Dream wasn't a person anymore, he was a meme.
So, what do you do? What do you do when the biggest moment of your entire career turns you into the internet's favorite punching bag? Well, for Dream, the answer was something nobody had ever seen before. He literally decided to hit the undo button.
I mean, this timeline is just wild. In less than a year, he went from that historic reveal to uploading a video announcing he was putting the mask back on, for good.
He was actually trying to put the genie back in the bottle.
And he was surprisingly open about why. He explained in a video that the constant negativity, the hate, and just the intense scrutiny of how he looked was all just too much.
His strategy for this whole thing was just fascinating. First, he deleted the original reveal video, the one with over 60 million views. Then, he actually leaned into the joke, calling himself ugly. And to top it all off, he commissioned a brand new high-tech mask from a movie prop company. He wasn't just going back to his old self, he was giving it an upgrade.
When you look at the whole story, what Dream went through really reveals a fundamental truth about internet culture. It's a culture that screams for authenticity, but then viciously punishes you for being, well, normal. The face reveal is the ultimate gamble, and more often than not, the house, the savage, hilarious, and totally unpredictable internet, always wins.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about. Where exactly is the line here? Was the internet's reaction to a guy showing his face for the very first time just fair game, or was it simply cruel? It's a question that really gets to the very heart of the online culture that we're all a part of.